Welcome to the Lifelinks Podcast, a Latina podcast for the modern cultura. I'm your host, Consuelo Crosby, Peruana, California native, structural engineer, mother, and your amiga for all things Latina. Here we honor the women who navigate multiple cultures, both aquí and allá, and somewhere in between, providing that safe place for you to speak your truth, celebrate la cultura, and find belonging in this comunidad. Join us every Wednesday on your favorite streaming platform to listen to your new amigas as they share their journeys of lessons learned, barriers they overcome, and the joys of living life with pure authenticity. Encuentras your voice and discover the life meant for you. Hola, chicas. Welcome to the Lifelinks Podcast and our very last episode of 2023. I can't believe it. Can you believe it? I can't believe it. This year was amazing. Huge transformation, a lot of bad stuff finally ending and being just flushed down the toilet. I've had it. Done. Clearing the way for an amazing, beautiful 2024 with you all, our extended family and friends. I hope this year has been gentle, transformative, hopeful, and joyous on any given day, and that this new year brings blessings and peace to you and your family. And that you continue to join us in what is becoming an even bigger platform to share your stories, because each of you has a valuable story that deserves to be told. So I'll be sharing that big news at the end of the episode, so get ready for some thrills. You may want to up your game off your cafecito. But like I said, it has been an epic year for us because of all of you that have graciously joined us to listen and learn from our fabulous guests who have shared their stories openly, speaking the unspeakable in many episodes, and creating a comunidad of love and support. This season alone, season 5, has just been remarkable and so moving in its scope of guests, the topics we brought up, and the revelations. Starting with our 100th episode on July 27th, and ending with our last full-length episode and our first Latino guest, Vega Montañez, Dominican and Puerto Rican American filmmaker who has done it all, including having his first of 4 movies streaming on Tubi, called The Hurt We Share. And if you have been following our Instagram account, you know we are planning to have a watch party of this movie where we can be all together remotely, although I'd love to do a live big theater version, so that we can be chatting about this taboo topic while also supporting our Latino filmmakers. This topic, this big, we don't talk about it topic that we have been denied in our upbringing and gone into adulthood with absolutely no preparation for such a devastating story. So we're supporting our Latino filmmakers, and we're supporting all the platforms like the Lifelinks podcast that hold space for our comunidad to share their story, to create our true narrative that is missing in today's media. It's missing in history, it's missing in business, but all of you are stepping up to create space for it. So if you want more movies and books and podcasts and all the media outlets centered on the Latina community, then we as a community must lean in to support them by purchasing, watching, reading, and listening to our stories being graciously and powerfully told by all the creatives and the professionals. Because if we don't share our own stories, no one else will. We know that. Or they're going to tell it in a way that just makes you cringe. But more so, if we don't support the platforms that hold space for us to share our stories, then we lose the chance to be heard, ladies. Now, if you listened to our last full-length episode last week with Vega Montañez, you know that I have a big announcement to make on this episode. It is all fun, all good, and includes you all, so stay with me as we celebrate this year in review on this episode. Not quite a Pod Club episode, which typically follows our full lengths to highlight the gems that our fab guests bring out, but more like that party you go to get in the mood before deciding to go clubbing. So let's do a quick wrap on Season 5, but start off with the beginning of the year and Season 4 with Dr. Joanna Feliciano, giving us a powerful twofold message that has held the test of time and comes up in almost every episode. I have quoted her so often throughout the year because her advice strikes to the heart of so many of our situations. So now it's perfect to bring Joanna's message up as we frame our new year. So her first piece of advice: remember to let go of what others think. In our own upbringing of que va a decir la gente, we may have held on to some bad habits of choosing things that have less to do with our own wants and more to do with what others expect of us. Did I strike a chord with that one? Did you do a little oof, ow? Yeah. Sitting with yourself and figuring out what do you really want regardless of what others say is so valuable. And as you're doing that, Joanna reminds us to get off that hamster wheel that keeps you spinning and spending all your energy and happiness in going around and around and around and trying and trying and trying, but never gets you to your dream place. Because you got on it out of obligation, maybe guilt, but not want. Such amazingly valuable words of advice from Dr. Joanna Feliciano, who continues to be the bright light of encouragement for Latinas seeking their path. Mil gracias, Joanna, for helping us shed the burden of our past. And talking about carrying burdens of her past, Victoria Blumenfeld found the courage to unleash the severity of her upbringing, speaking her truth and discovering joy of freedom after her episode on August 16th. You never know what's going to come up, and that's the beauty of having this safe place to speak your truth. She reached out to me afterwards and said, speaking that raw and honest with you and putting it out there is causing me to let go of fear that I still had. That fear that keeps you on the hamster wheel, that fear that worries about what others think of you, will not bring you to your dream place, will not bring you to your happiness. I was so taken back, literally brought to tears, by Victoria's sentiment, and honored to have given her the space to let go. A space that's difficult to find in a society that isn't listening. Doing a lot of talking at you, but not listening. And yet, you all were listening. You all were listening in force, and you made Victoria's episode our most downloaded one yet. So grateful that you found comfort and trust with what she was saying, and a lot of gratitude from our end for sharing it with your friends and family. Because that one bounced in the same way of encouragement and power that Frances Vasquez Suchet exuberantly brought to her episode. That woman, she is all about facing the unknown, facing it with courage and excitement and happiness, because you never know what's going to happen. And that's the beauty of it. Usually what happens is even greater than you can even imagine. And what she didn't imagine was that her abuela, her grandmother, called her from Puerto Rico crying in joy at listening to Frances's episode, beaming with pride upon hearing her brilliance, and wanted to share how proud she was of the woman she had become. Now that is worth sharing a story for, because we don't even provide the opportunity for our own family to really listen to what's going on in us. But here we do. And I'm certain Yasmin Ramirez's abuelita, Ita, would have done the same if she were with us today. You can tell by reading Yasmin's first published book, Andale Prieta, the endearing name that Ita gave to Yasmin, the memoir that memorializes her life with Ita and brings her to life for all of us to cherish. Yasmin's lyrical expressions illuminate the beauty of humanity in each of her real-life characters that builds the empathetic bridge to us, the reader, and helps us realize, regardless of our past experiences, regardless of the barriers we may find in our cultura, we really must take the time to memorialize the moments we have with our family before they leave us. And humanity is the core of Carol Umansor's work. Through Born to Be, her entrepreneurial business founded on the premise of humanizing our communications with ourselves and each other. And with that, breaking generational barriers that we may have grown up with so that we can become gentler and genuine leaders in whatever we do. You don't know until you know how much of our childhood and upbringing we absorbed and brought forward until you listen to women like Carol and Angelika Vega in her heart-wrenching and tearful story of when she found the courage to come out to her familia in Colombia, only to be turned away and rejected. The generational and cultural barriers hit hard, but it didn't discourage Angelika from stepping out to live her authentic self in strength and power and total freedom. Her vivacity is why we met in Medellin and talked for literally 9 hours, 3 of which were recorded in our first episode ever in a foreign country. Her story will move you, and you may feel the same pain and realize that we have a lot of work to do as a cultura to open our arms, open our minds to each of us so that they can live authentically out loud and proud in this comunidad. And courage is deeply rooted in Claudia Valenzuela when she adventurously left her small town in eastern Washington state to study abroad and then live abroad, away from her family and their ideals for her. She returned to empower the next generation to take those big risks and go after the bigger dream, to pick up where our parents may have left off, because it's our turn, and it's their turn to take that big dream and run with it, the way that Yaqueline Martinez did as she envisioned herself in a bigger dream, leaving Cuba with only a few bags of clothes to come here to the U.S. She didn't know exactly what it would be, but she believed in herself and the power of la comunidad and offered us this big lesson of reaching out for help and guidance from those who know. And that is a lesson you may think you know. But how far do you go along stringing yourself, burning out, getting exhausted before asking for help? There's another one of those generational upbringing aspects that we need to punt because we have been taught to just do it yourself. And not only for yourself, do it for others. Do all of it all alone because you can't ask for help. So not only did Yaqueline bring up these amazing words of wisdom to remind us to rely on each other, but she was our first bilingual episode, expanding our reach within the comunidad and illuminating its immense diversity. And again, why we are making an even bigger platform for all your stories to be heard, to be read, to be seen in the new year. Don't these all sound like descriptives of the Oscar nominations? The brilliance and contribution of each amazing guest, their stories, both shared and unique to each of us in every episode. The individuality and authenticity comes streaming out through tears and laughter, and in that raw voice, we learn of the power of our community to live in pride for who we are. Now, you may have noticed that there's one person I haven't yet spoken of from this past season 5. It's because she brings us to both our closing of this year and created my fun-filled trip in Medellin for my birthday. But she's also the person I'm turning to in the exciting opening of our new season, season 6, and the new year, with the big announcement that I have had forming in my heart and soul much of this year. Melissa Sandoval, Colombian founder of Intuición Café in San Diego. I, too, am a very spiritual mujer with a thing for numbers, just like she is. Now, I used mine in engineering, but it has nothing to do with the in-depth spirituality and intentional guidance that both of us see numbers doing in our life. For Melissa, it was 1122. Her numbers that led her to open her Intuición Café on November 22nd, 2022. 11, 22, 22. Also the birthday of mi mama. Which again, not a coincidence. We are sisters from another mother. So for me, and the next generation of the Lifelings podcast, it's going to be 2 and 4. 2 and 4, February 4th of 2024, we will be launching our next big season 6 with a new name that truly highlights what Lifelings has done from the start. Holding the mic for Latinas to share their stories, speak their truth, and create our narrative in our own words, in our own time. So season 6, starting Sunday, February 4th, 2024, is coming to you as Encuentras Your Voice podcast, under the new company, Encuentras Media, because we all have to take a moment to discover our voice, discover who we are, and discover the opportunities to share it so that we are living our authentic lives. So get ready to discover the truth in all of you, because authenticity is your superpower, and we want to hear all about it. Now, nothing changes for you, our longtime listeners. You will still receive your weekly episodes every Wednesday straight into your listening device if you have subscribed and followed us on your favorite streaming platforms. So share the new name with your friends and family and Latina comunidad so we can continue to expand our presence in today's media market and get ready for an even larger platform to cherish and highlight our experiences, our narrative, our diverse cultura with pride and celebration. Look for updates on our social media platforms, which will also remain the same for your access, but will have the new name of Encuentras Your Voice podcast. And in the new post, you will see leads to our new company, Encuentras Media. So come in fresh to the new year to discover what's coming your way on Sunday, February 4th, 2024. 242424. I can't wait to hear how the new year starts for you and all the wishes and wants, dreams and goals that you declare out loud. May all your dreams continue to come true, to highlight your authenticity that we treasure for adding so much beauty to our lives. Many blessings for a safe and joyous holiday. And from our family, Merry Christmas, Feliz Navidad, and feliz gran año nuevo. Happy New Year. Encuentras your voice. And step into your truth, ladies. Ciao. Really appreciate the time you take to rate and review the podcast. Get the backstory and what you've heard here today and reach out on our website at lifelinks.com. That's LNXX. Because it's about time, it's about us. Stay in the groove on our social media at Lifelinks and get ready to make your move, ladies. Viva!